Joining me back on the show is UFC featherweight, the Wolfman, Bobby Moffett. What's going on, Bobby?
Yes, sir. It's doing pretty good, man. Thanks for having me on the show again.
No doubt, man. You are with the new team now, Fight Ready. What
Yes,
prompted
sir.
you to make the switch?
So, I love the MMA lab. I still love all those guys. I don't have um, anything bad to say about the team over there. I still care about everybody over there and our coaches and stuff. But Eddie Cha ended up leaving the lab. They were in some kind of disagreement on stuff. So he went to Fight Ready, which was like 30 minutes for me. And I've been working with Eddie for the past 3 years, and I feel like I've gotten a lot better with Eddie in my corner and learning from him. He's got a lot to learn, and he's a really smart coach. And he's the guy that goes out with me with these fights that I've had. I spend weeks with him and stuff, and he always takes special time with me. So I always felt like. He's a really good person and a really good coach, and he really cared about my development, as a fighter. So he ended up leaving, and had to follow him. It was a tough decision, but I really like the new gym. Fight Ready is a really good spot. The guys that train there are really tough and really good people over there, and then we've got excellent coaches there too. So I'm really excited for this next performance.
Your teammate, Jakar Close, he also made the move. And he came out and said that he was given an ultimatum. Was that kind of the case for you too?
No. I mean, it was never said to me like that. So kind of I know our head coach at the lab, he didn't want me going to train at Fight Ready with Eddie, because I was still training at the lab at one point, and I would go to Fight Ready and just hit mitts with Eddie, and our coach was saying, he'd rather have Eddie come to the lab and hold mitts for me. Obviously, that wasn't going to happen. Eddie had left, and there was no way he was going to just come back to the lab just to hold mitts for me. So I was never given that, hey, you got to train here or train there. It was, I went to Fight Ready a few times, and then I tried out Santino's grappling class. That's the other head coach there. That's the jiu-jitsu head coach on the fight team. And I tried out his class, and then the next day we had the MMA lab wrestling, and I felt a difference, in the two. There was nothing wrong with how we trained at the lab. I just felt like I had started to learn. I started to learn again a little bit more at Fight Ready, and I really wanted to embrace that 100%. So I didn't want to go half and half, and I moved out here from Illinois. I moved out from a place where I had to go train at one gym, and then 30 minutes away I had to go and train at the other gym, and another 45 minutes to train another gym. So I didn't want to go back to a two gym kind of thing. I wanted I wanted to do it all in one place, and I felt it best to go with Fight Ready, for this camp, and probably, for the rest of my career, as long as it goes pretty well. You know what I mean? So um, I'm excited for it. They never gave me the ultimatum or anything like that. Um, but I'm sure that it would have came down to it, if it became an issue.
Do you actually have a wolf next to you? What is that? That's a big dog.
this is this is my dog. Oh, dang it! This is my dog, Fenrir. Fen,
Oh god,
go look at the camera.
he's shy.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's pretty shy. He's a pretty shy guy. But if you get to know him, then he jumps all over you and stuff, like he's doing right now. He's like, "Hey, why are you on your phone right now? You got to be paying attention to me." So he's just messing around.
That's a big boy right there. Um,
Yeah.
Now, it seemed like, you went through some drama, I guess drama, but was that something that was going on during your preparations for your last fight, or was it after the fight?
No, it was after the fight. I had my own drama before my last fight. I had this things, different stuff going on that I didn't really want going on at the time, and you could blame it all on how outside stuff might affect you, but really, I mean, this poor decision making, I feel like in my last fight was the reason why I lost it. I never really had gotten my timing going and my striking, and then on the ground, I wasn't just being myself. I was kind of forcing positions and stuff, and it's just it was just a bad decision making for myself. But I've been working on that a lot now at the new gym, and I'm really excited to put it out there.
All right, let's talk about your next opportunity. You're traveling to Uruguay. In your wildest dreams, did you ever think that you'd be fighting in that country?
No, when they honestly, like, I don't know if I'm gonna sound real stupid when I say this, but when they were like, "Oh, you're gonna go fight in Uruguay," like, I don't know, I was like, "Is that like near Russia or something?" Like that's kind of like I didn't know where it was. I had no idea. It's just not a place. It's not a country that I've ever thought about going to. Um, this is their first fight, so it was not even like a thing. Not even like a thing you'd see in fight nights. It was like, oh, I'm gonna fight in Brazil, Sao Paulo, something like that, or Argentina. They went there, but they'd never been to Uruguay before, so um, this is pretty exciting. This is my first international fight, so I'm really excited to put on a show for the South American fans.
Yeah, it must be okay because, you're going to South America, which means that there's not much of a time difference instead of maybe flying
Yeah,
to Russia, which is a massive time difference. So it kind of
yeah,
does it give you some kind of comfort that your first international fight is in the kind of like in the same timeline?
yeah. Knowing that I think it's only like 3 hours ahead of me right now, so it's really not that big of a difference. The worst part's going to be flying the 13 hours. But besides that, it's going to be the same thing as just going to the East Coast. So I'm pretty excited for this. I think it's going to be a really good fight, and I'm fighting a South American, so I think the crowd's going to get into it. They're gonna root for him for sure, but I think I'm going to turn the tides. I'm going to get some fans out of this one. I know.
Definitely. Do you believe in all that flat earth stuff? When you fly?
No, no, I do not. Flat Earth stuff. God, what do you believe in that stuff?
No, man, no.
Why'd you bring that up?
I don't
Is
know. I
there
feel like every time someone flies or I fly, I always think about that because
really?
they always point to that. Like when you're flying, why are you flying above the Earth? Parallel to the Earth. Why aren't you not flying on the side of the Earth? Like if the world was round, type thing.
Oh yeah,
It's some weird. It's just
people.
some weird shit. In my mind.
Yeah, but I think it's just you're you're not seeing the bend
Yeah.
in the Earth. The Earth is so big. It's so big. People tend to forget how big this planet really is. You look at maps, and sometimes countries aren't really represented the size that they really are. Like Africa on a lot of like globes and maps is represented like really small, not really small, but like smaller than it really is. And then when they show you the actual size of it, it's like it's gigantic compared to a lot of these other continents. So I think people just fail to understand how big this planet is. They're like, no, I see over there. It's got to be flat. This is just the table. We're on a table. We're on one side, and but yeah, it's kind of crazy how people think that. But I could see the confusion if you don't really if you think in all the conspiracies. If your whole life is a big conspiracy, then I mean I could see why you'd fall into it.
Well,
Relax, boy.
your dog
Yeah,
seems like
he's
he's
all
really
over me.
pissed
He's
off that we're
not
talking
liking.
about it.
Yeah, he is not liking that I'm talking about this flat Earth stuff. That might be a thing right there. Oh my God,
Uh,
he's gotten a vaccine before. He could be it could be some government stuff right there. They're setting him up so he could distract us from this flat Earth talk.
uh, now let's talk about your opponent. You're taking on, Enrique Barzola. He does
Yeah,
have some decent wins over, like the likes of Brandon Davis and Matt Bissett. What are your thoughts on his fighting style?
I think he's a really tough dude. I think he fights a lot like kind of like, well, I wouldn't say typical South American because then you've got the Brazilians and they're all really good at jiu-jitsu, but I don't think he's got that much of a jiu-jitsu game. He likes to grapple, but he doesn't really like try and hold on to people too long. He'll take them down, and if they get up, he'll let them back up, and he'll swing on you. I think he's just he's down to fight. I think he's got a really good style, and he's got some good wins. Yeah, I think he's like 5-2 in the UFC. So I'm pretty excited for this fight. I think this is a good matchup. I think we're gonna clash, and it's gonna be a really good fight for I think for 2 rounds, and then it's gonna turn into me just killing him. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
He
Knock
he
on
does
wood.
have he does have a total of 7 fights in the UFC, win or lose. He has gone to the judges every single time, so it does show you that he is a tough guy. What does that say though, other than he's a tough guy about your opponent, that he goes to the judges every single time?
I think what it says is, yeah. Other than the he's tough, is that it's hard for him to get the finish. I've watched a few of his fights, and he really doesn't. I haven't seen many times that he's put people in the position to even finish them. And I'm not saying he can't finish people, so I don't ever want to go in there and be like, "Oh, dude, this guy can't finish me at all," and then boom, I get cracked. That was part of the reason why I lost the first round of my last fight, because I was like, "This dude isn't gonna touch me," and then he touched me. So I was like,
Mm.
so I can't go into the fight with that kind of mentality. I can't go into the fight thinking that I'm so much better than this person that I'm just going to blow him out of the water. And that's something I've been working on, my mentality going into fights. Sometimes I found myself, sometimes I get too ahead of myself. I think, man, this is just a little stepping stone. I'm gonna go bigger, 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 and I've got to realize that what's in front of me is the most important thing. So back to back to his fighting style. I think it's just hard for him to find the finish, and I think that means that he hasn't really, just he doesn't have the best ground and pound. He has a little bit ground and pound, but honestly, he doesn't have crazy knockout power. Obviously, he hits you in the right spot, you're going to get hurt. That's everybody in this sport. So as long as my hands are up and I fight smart, I don't think he's ever going to get the ability to put me in the position to be finished. And I am a finisher. I don't like to go to decisions. I like to fight somebody and I like to finish them. The whole point of my fighting is to finish the fight as quickly as possible. So I think that's the difference between him and myself. And I also have a gas tank too. So I'm going to be trying to finish him for 15 minutes, and he's just going to be trying to win for 15 minutes. So I think that's a little difference right there. And you're going to see the difference in the fight once it starts going into the second round. And the things that I'm doing are to finish him, and the things that he's doing is just kind of just to fight, just to win. So it's gonna be a really good fight.
No fight team is the same, and you just recently joined a new team. Has there been an adjustment period that you went through, or did you just get in there and it was just like all systems go?
Well, there was. I mean, I had a couple guys that I had trained with at the lab that had already moved over. Jakar, Henry Corrales, Dan Moret. They had moved over, And so it really wasn't a hard adjustment, you know. When I started training there, I was just with Eddie, or I would do a class, and I would be partners with Jakar or Henry. So it was an easy adjustment. Plus, I knew the coaches, you know, the coaches that they have at Fight Ready. I've already met them before. You know, one of the boxing coaches was one of the boxing coaches for the MMA lab, and he ended up leaving too to Fight Ready, like Eddie did. So, and then there's a wrestling coach there, Angel Cejudo, and he had taught a few times at the MMA lab, and then he went over to Fight Ready, and he's the wrestling coach there. So I've met a few of these guys before. Santino and I have met occasionally, like before fights and stuff. But I'm a pretty easygoing person, so it's not hard for me to kind of meld right into the system. You know, I'm not too hard headed. I might be hard headed when I fight, but I'm not too hard headed when it comes to training and when it comes to learning and when it comes to meeting new people. I'm pretty easygoing, and I can meld in with any team, you know. So when I started meeting all the guys, we just clicked and it was good. Everything was all systems go, you know.
I also saw that you're working with Neuro Force One, going through their Combat
Yeah.
Evolve program. Can you explain exactly what that entails?
So they ran a bunch of tests on me, which I've never done before. So there was like, I think because my fight camp was a little bit shorter than the normal ones, they want our fight camps to be a little bit longer. But I think I only have like 6-7 weeks with Neuroforce, so total for this fight camp. And so I didn't get to do the VO2 max test, which is when you run on the treadmill and see, you know, how good your cardio is, which I'm sure I would have been fine. But they ran me through like a resting heart rate test, to check my metabolic rate and my heart rate, stuff like that. Things I don't know anything about. And they put like a stim machine on me and checked like my muscle mass and my bones and see if I had any injuries, and then checked my nutrition pretty much. And then we did a few like lifting exercises to see, and stretching exercises to see like if my mobility is horrendous or not, and how strong I am, pretty much like what was my athletic capabilities before I showed up. And then once they got all those numbers together, they put a schedule together for the program I'm going to be running. So when I show up, we go over some stretching. I have a few stretches that I do every single time, and then we do something different a little bit, and then we do some like neuro with the lights, some cognitive stuff, a lot of like fight like simulating light stuff, and then we go over a couple lifts. And that's the thing, when we do lifts there, it's really cool because they have it set. They have the bar, whatever I'm doing, they have it connected to this meter. So when I lift the weight, I have to lift the weight at a certain speed. I have to be a certain amount of explosiveness for the rep to count, pretty much. So each rep means more. I feel like now training with Neuroforce, each rep is meant to be 100%, you know. And they also do some other stuff where it's kind of crazy. They put some headphones on you. They're not really headphones, but they like, I couldn't tell you everything. I couldn't tell you what things do, but pretty much what they explained it to me to dumb it down was I wear these headphones and they kind of like do an electric stim to my brain. So when I'm doing exercises, it's easier for me to do them the next time I do them. My body and my brain are more in sync when they do it a second time. So, and I've already felt the results. I've only had 4 sessions with them. Like besides the 2 sessions of the testing and stuff, I've only had like 4 full sessions with them, and I already feel a difference in my body and my endurance with my explosiveness and my power when I'm hitting mitts with Coach Eddie. I'm hitting harder, and it's just smarter. It seems like it's this really smarter training, and I feel like the results are going to really speak for themselves when I go out there and fight this dude on August 10th.
Well, it seems like you're involved in uh, like an X-Men type of
Yeah,
science
I feel
project.
like I'm becoming a superhuman or something. Like after we do these crazy workouts and stuff, then they put me under like a red light, and they'll put like those compression pants on or compression arms, and I get to recover for like another 30 minutes, and it's just they gave me like a breather. I breathe in it every day or something like that. It's just like some crazy stuff that I've never done before, and I already feel the results in 4 times. So I feel like it's they really know what they're doing. They broke it down to a science, literally. They really made this into something you could just enter in a computer and figure out what that person needs to do specifically. So really smart people over there, really good trainers, and I'm really excited. It's
Yeah,
fun.
physically it must be phenomenal, but mentally also it must have a huge
Yeah,
effect on you, in your training, seeing the benefits, seeing the improvements, with your eyes instead of just like thinking that you're improving, like
yeah,
all these other places they don't have that science. They just think that they're improving, but you can see it
yeah.
on a chart,
You
on a
can.
screen, and these guys are doing it for you. And hey, Henry Cejudo, he's prime example of what that
There's a
program
reason
can
why.
do. August 10th, you get to make your return back to the
Yes,
Octagon,
sir.
UFC on ESPN plus 14. Uruguay, new chart, new
Uruguay.
territory for you, man. I'm
Yes.
excited for you. Get back in there with a new camp, new team, and yeah, man. Thank you so much, Bobby, for your time. It's always
Of course.
fun chatting with you, and
Yeah.
good
Thank you
luck
for
on that
having me.
future.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me, Jay. And maybe next time we'll talk some more about some conspiracy theories and stuff.
Yeah.